Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marriage Matters Podcast. We are your hosts, John and Dom, here where we discuss all the matters of marriage because we believe that marriage still matters. Listen, our purpose of this platform is very clear. It is to help you restore honor back to your marriage, one episode at a time, starting tonight. Listen, baby girl, talk to the people. Tell them how they can connect with us.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, what's up again, people? Of course, I am Dom. Thank you so
Yes,
much
you
for
are.
joining. Yes, that I am. Thank you so much for joining us. Ways that you can connect with us. They include Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Of course, you're already here. You're probably watching us on YouTube. So if you're here, go ahead and subscribe to us. Don't forget to press that notification bell. We're here every week, 3 p.m. We want to see you. All right. Also, you can reach us info@themarriagemattersbrand.com, and that is our email address. So reach out. We want to hear from you.
Tell them about the streaming platforms as far as podcasts.
Absolutely. So you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio podcasts. So yeah, all the places that have the podcasts. We're
Yes, we are there. And baby, we are here. How are you doing, girl?
there. I'm doing fantastic. As I always say, I'm well, but I'm so much better with you.
Come on, don't do it.
You
Don't
make me better.
Okay, then.
I'm a moving by myself.
I make her better. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard her say it. What would she be without your boy?
Wait a minute.
What would she be without your boy?
Okay, calm down.
Okay, not too much?
Not too
Okay.
much.
All right. Listen, man, we are here for part two.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord.
Part two of Blended
Yeah.
and Whole.
Right.
You know, we said on part one, man, just because you're blended doesn't
Does not
mean
mean
you
you're
cannot
whole.
be whole.
That's right.
Does not mean you cannot be whole.
Right.
Man. And so listen, this is gonna be an amazing episode. Hey, part two. Ooh, if you did not watch part
Listen,
one, if you did not watch part one, stop.
go back.
Bye. Go. Get off. I mean, like
Yeah.
this one, but then go back
Absolutely.
and watch part one, man. It
Yeah.
was Holy Spirit came in, he took over.
Mm-hmm.
We prayed and we invited him in prior to, and he did his thing.
Big one. His big one, as they say.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
no, it was so
then
good.
the episode ended with you just boo-hoo crying.
Man, I did not anticipate that. Not a single bit. I mean, we read over our notes. We said, okay, of course we invited Holy Spirit in.
Yeah.
But I mean, he came and he wrecked.
He wrecked.
And so, hey, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, number one, that we are yielded and submitted. And we always say, God, this is your podcast.
Absolutely.
Like, have your way. Like, we're just your vessels.
Absolutely.
And I think he showed us that on the last episode. So, hey, move how you want to, Lord.
Move how you want to. Any way you want to do it, we're going to let you do it. So, man,
Yeah.
listen, we are here. We are excited about this episode. We are in part two of Blended and Whole. So you may say, man, why are you guys doing a part two? Like, y'all could have finished it up in one episode. So we're going to give you these same statistics that we gave you guys in part one so that if you are watching part two first, you understand why we are putting so much emphasis on this blended topic. So the first stat is 70% of blended marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
70% of all blended marriages end in divorce.
That's
Why are
huge.
we not talking about this so much?
That's huge. I'm not sure why. I haven't come to that space yet. Perhaps we think that maybe we can navigate this space on our own. But as you said in the first episode, and as I believe with all my heart concerning any episode, man, if you think that the enemy is not on attack and that he's not after your marriage, you are sadly mistaken.
Yes.
Right. So that's the number one reason why that number is so high, is because he's after your marriage. And then I kind of brought up another point that we have to consider, that in the case for you to even become a blended family, you had to have been a part of another family or long-term relationship
So you're
to
coming
begin
in with
with.
baggage.
So you're coming in,
Yeah.
with the odds stacked against you, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Man. So it would behoove you
Come on, man.
to partner with Holy Spirit,
Come on, behoove.
and learn from these principles and this wisdom
Yes.
that we share concerning your blended family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So number two, the second stat, blended families require at least 2 to 5 years before hitting their stride.
Yep.
And so if you're blended, man, and you are within that 2 to 5 year mark, or that, anywhere from that 1 to 5 year mark,
Mm-hmm.
you may have not yet hit the stride. So I encourage you to stick in there.
Hang in there.
Hang in there. You're still doing some groundwork.
Absolutely.
Continue to allow God to grow you and develop you in and as a
Thank you, Lord.
blended family, but
Yep.
don't give up.
No.
Don't
Now
give
is
up.
not the time
Now
to
is not the
throw in the
time,
towel.
man. Right.
No.
Don't. And so, yeah, man. And number 3, 1,300 new blended families are formed every day.
I thought that was a really, really insane number. Like, 1,300 blended families a day. And then you go back and you look at the statistic, which, further supports the 70%
Hmm.
statistic that you showed us from the start.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's a lot.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And then I'm sure, like I said last episode, if we dig a little deeper, we will also
mhm.
discover that maybe that 1,300, those are not first time offenders.
Right. Right.
In that 1,300 new blended families being formed every day,
Right.
it could be some that are second and third time over
Mhm.
blended.
Wow.
And if that's
Wow.
the case, man, like we got to talk about this is not
Yeah.
something that we can be hush hush about. And we are representers
Mhm.
of the church. So we
Yes.
believe we have the right to
Mhm.
speak on behalf of the church.
Mhm.
We are Christians. I'm a campus pastor. I serve in ministry. My wife serves in ministry. And God told us to start this podcast. So when I talk about the church or I speak on behalf of the church, it's not like I'm bashing, because I
Mhm.
believe the church is good and very good. I
Absolutely.
believe the institution as a whole is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are some flawed people doing ministry and
Mhm.
doing church, but
Mhm.
man, the church overall is phenomenal. And I
Right.
love being a part of the institution.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I said that to say this, man, as the church though, we have got to talk more about this subject.
Absolutely. I agree with that because we're talking when you talk about the subject, we're talking about taking that statistic, that's a 500,000 new blended families every single year.
Ooh. Say it again.
500,000
500,000.
blended families are created every year.
Wow.
And I believe that's just a US statistic.
Right.
So this isn't a global statistic.
Absolutely.
We're just
Absolutely.
talking about the land that we're on.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
that's huge.
Yeah. And so
That's
as the
huge.
church, we got to give voice to this. And so
Mhm.
that's what we're doing. We're sounding out today. And so, like I said, last episode was amazing. We have a total of 19,
Yes.
19 key principles that
Mhm.
we want to give you, that will help you become blended and whole. And y'all, last episode was so good. We only made it through the first 5.
5. Yeah.
So we're gonna dive back in. We told Holy Spirit we're not gonna rush him. We're gonna let him take his time. If we finish on part 2, great. If there's a part 3, even better. But listen, man, we're gonna have a good time. So lean in and let's take this, baby. You want to take number 6? Let's dive into it.
Let's do it. So, establishing the new roles and responsibilities of the bonus parent with the child.
Yes,
That is the like 6th point um in having a whole blended family.
yes. And so you have got to establish the new roles and responsibilities of the bonus parent with the child. So now
Mhm.
that you have brought this new person into your child's life, you got to let that child know, hey, listen, who this is. Not
Yeah.
just this mama new man or this mama new husband, this daddy new girl, this daddy new wife.
Uh-huh.
No. I understand that they are your new husband,
Right.
but what are
Mm.
they to me?
Right.
How do they fit in my life?
Yeah.
What are
Mhm.
their roles and responsibilities in my life? Because if we do not set the new roles and responsibilities and make sure that they are properly communicated to the child, it's going to be easy for expectations to go unmet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I'm listening to you, I'm already thinking about the other side of that.
Okay?
The other side of not properly introducing, right? And establishing these new roles and responsibilities, right? And so keeping things the way that they were,
Hmm.
so to speak, and the dangers of that other side. So we're married. We're actually blending our families, right, physically, but we
Right.
don't blend our families financially. We don't blend our families emotionally,
Yes.
spiritually, and all the things.
Yes.
And that is very dangerous,
Absolutely.
right? And so, what I mean by not blending your family emotionally, spiritually, financially, all the things, right? So you're in my house, you're under my roof, you do as I say, me being the biological parent,
Mm-hmm.
and then he has my new husband or my new wife in
Mm-hmm.
a man's case. They can't really tell you anything.
Right.
I'm your parent, I'm your mama, or I'm the
Yeah.
daddy and stuff like
No, no,
that.
no, no,
Or
no.
you do what me and your daddy say do. Man, that's creating, you will never see the wholeness and the fullness in
Absolutely.
your family and in your home the way that you say you want to see it going in with those type of quote unquote boundaries.
Yeah.
They really aren't boundaries,
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
no, they're
Well,
not.
actually they are boundaries because they keep all the good stuff out.
Right.
The potential for wholeness, they
Yeah.
keep it out if you operate that way.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. So definitely. So we got to have conversation with the child,
mm-hmm,
establishing the roles and responsibilities, letting them know what this new person
mm-hmm,
is now to you,
yeah,
what value they have
mm-hmm,
and bring, and what expectations I now have as biological parent
yeah,
for you
yeah,
and them.
mm-hmm,
And so we got to have that conversation. If we're not going to be whole as a blended family.
absolutely,
All right, number 7, do not, I repeat, do not allow dishonor and disrespect from the child to go unaddressed and unpunished.
right, yeah,
Listen, man, you guys are newlywed. You guys just became a blended family, or somebody may be watching. Y'all may be blended for 10 years, whatever the case may be.
mm-hmm,
You cannot keep allowing that child to be disrespectful to your new husband or wife.
right. No, not at all. Like that's not Bible.
It's not Bible.
Number
It's
one,
not order.
it's
It's
not
not
order.
order. So you got
Yeah,
to make sure that you are establishing rules in the house that that child will honor and respect that adult. Because
mm-hmm,
let's keep in mind, although they may be new husband, new wife, and child, you may not like that,
right,
but you're going to respect them as an adult, if nothing else.
absolutely. I agree with you. Right.
And so, as the parent, it ain't cute
No, it's
when
not.
your child is being disrespectful, because really what's happening is they are pushing that person away, and you
Mm-hmm.
wonder why you guys have been fighting so hard to unify and get some roots in the marriage. It's been because you've been allowing dishonor in the house.
Right. Right. And so, oh man, I could go somewhere, but I will here in a second. And this is not the time to be passive.
No.
This is not the time to be passive. And I think a lot of times people allow what really is dishonor and disrespect in situations because they want to maybe pacify a situation.
Oh wow.
They
Yeah.
haven't gotten over, not particularly gotten over the ex, not in that sense, but they're concerned with how this new move or this new husband or wife
Hmm.
is going to affect the children. So they become passive in an area and just brush things off.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're hurting their new spouse, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not enforcing those boundaries.
Right.
And it's not cute. And you're really ultimately allowing disrespect and dishonor to take place in your house.
And with that, babe, you never want your new spouse to feel like they're coming in second to your child.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and let me say this,
Yeah.
because some people may listen to that and say, wait a minute, what? They
Mhm.
are second to my child. No, they're
No,
not.
they're not. No, they're not.
No, they're not. Because the Bible says you and your new spouse are one flesh.
Right.
Not you and your child.
children. Yeah. Yeah, that's real. That's an issue in a lot of people's homes. And a lot of people that's a hard hurdle.
Yeah.
A high one too for
Yeah.
people to get over.
Yeah. No, we
You know.
we got to make sure that we are addressing all disrespect from the child to the new parent. We
Mhm.
never want the child to feel like it's acceptable,
Mhm.
and we never want the child to feel like they have rank
Yeah. Mhm.
in this over the new spouse.
Right.
Because
Right.
what is that communicating to the child if I never correct you
Mhm.
when you're being disrespectful,
Right.
when you are dishonoring and being, what I'm saying, just blatant, outright nasty
Mhm.
to my new spouse? What is that communicating to the child?
Mhm.
Because based on their age, they don't have a way to turn it off and on based on what adult they're being nasty to.
Right.
And so if mom or dad lets me be nasty and mean and disrespectful to their new spouse, then
Yeah.
I must be able to do that to all adults.
Mhm. Right.
And so now you wonder why little Timmy keep getting suspended.
Right. Exactly.
Well, It's rooted in the fact that you don't correct the disrespect at the house with the new spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just call
Very well
things what
could
they
be.
are,
Very well could be. Yeah.
right?
So we have to correct that. And that's why we're sharing these tools and these keys to give either some people who are new to this,
Yeah,
we give you the opportunity to go in correctly, and then maybe like you said, you've been married for 10 years. Well, you can always pivot.
you can always
You
pivot.
can always pivot.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about here later about how we should be having these conversations, with our children. We should be sitting down with them.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be just you and I making the decision. This is how we're going to run things, and not bring the kids in. Well, they don't know.
right,
They don't know how things are supposed to be
right.
run. They don't know what's expected unless it's communicated to them. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
You're spot on, baby. All right. Where we at? Number 8.
I believe so. That number comes after 7.
Number 8. Do not allow the ex to dishonor and disrespect your new spouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen to me. I don't care how close you and the ex may be,
Mm-hmm.
how close you all may have gotten,
Mm-hmm.
what type of friendship you may have developed
Mm-hmm.
now that you all have separated.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them disrespect and dishonor
Right.
your new spouse.
Right.
Because you do not want your spouse to feel like they're coming in second. And coming in second of all people,
Right.
your ex? No,
Wow.
no.
Right.
Like,
Because you could have stayed there.
you could have stayed there.
You know.
You could have stayed
Since y'all so buddy.
there.
I'm just playing.
Yeah,
But no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to create that.
yeah. So make sure that we're not allowing them to disrespect the new spouse. Make sure we are nipping that in the bud
Mm-hmm.
and establishing those foundations whenever we see the disrespect appear,
Of course.
that we're quick to say, wait, hey, listen,
Yeah.
no, you can't do that. You
Right.
can't say that. That's not
Mhm.
allowed. That's not acceptable.
Right.
And I guarantee you, if you correct it once or twice, they'll see people push the envelope.
Absolutely.
They do what they feel that they
Mhm.
can do. They
Right.
do what you allow them to do.
Right.
And when you allow disrespect,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to always have disrespect.
Absolutely. And then you always got to consider, so children, depending on their ages, and I believe most children, they're sponges
Mm-hmm.
up to a certain age.
Yep.
So say you correct the child when
Mhm.
they disrespect your spouse, but you don't correct that other parent,
The other
that
parent.
co-parent.
Yeah.
And so they're saying things even if the child is not. Well, the child is inevitably
Yeah.
gonna feel like that they can disrespect your new
Right.
spouse.
Right. Because you let my daddy
You
do
let
it.
my daddy do
You let my
it.
mama do it. So,
you
I mean,
know?
I should be able to disrespect him too.
So
Punk.
that's oh big head so
Right. You know what I'm saying?
So just be mindful of all. I mean, your ex, the children, obviously,
Yeah.
any family members that you still may be connected to, of your ex. That does happen. And I'm not a believer that you got to break up with the family if
Right.
just because you got split. Of course you may have children, and we're talking about blended families, so you do have children. So just make sure that you make sure that make sure that you make sure. I
Make
caught
sure you make
myself.
sure.
That everybody is being
Mhm.
respectful of your spouse.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know.
Definitely want to do that. All right. Number 9.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Discuss boundaries and expectations around correcting and chastising the child.
Yeah. So this is a touchy subject.
Mhm.
I've seen people say things like, if I remarry or when I get somebody else, I'm not gonna let them, or the other person may say, if we were to ever break up or separate or divorce, you better not let nobody else, you know what I'm saying, correct or put their
Mhm.
hands on my child.
Mhm.
You, you know,
I got a thing or two I could say about that.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, my take on this whole thing, if I can provide for that child,
Mm-hmm.
if I can care for that child
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, mentally, whatever the case, and provide for them financially, but I can't correct them, then we have a problem. And that's something that needs to be addressed immediately.
Yeah.
Or we could very well, without correcting this, we could very well find ourselves in that 70%.
Right.
That's easily, because that's huge. And I think that is so unfair. Um, that we often approach situations like that. Everything is combined except my children.
Ooh, yeah.
We're one in every area except when it comes to my children.
Except when it comes to chastising,
Chastising.
and correcting
Yeah.
my children. And so keep in mind, we're not just talking about, spankings or anything. We're talking about just like, I know some people who can't even say nothing
Yeah.
to the person's children, and they married.
And they get corrected by their spouses.
Right. So
For
you correct
correcting.
me for correcting the child.
Yeah, and that's not cool.
That's not cool, y'all. We can't do that.
Yeah.
We gotta do a better job. Now listen, I'm a firm believer of this. Now, granted, we date, no, you ain't got no business putting your hand on my child.
Right, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But we married.
Mm-hmm.
We entered covenant.
Mm-hmm.
And with this covenant, now all things are equal.
Right.
And so with that being said, that's the child as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now the problem is a lot of people are getting married and we're not having proper conversations leading into.
No.
Y'all, I'm convinced of this right here. Y'all don't want to have real premarital counseling.
No.
Let's just sit down for a minute. Y'all, we're getting married. Singles, if you're listening, do not get married without having naked and transparent premarital coaching and counseling.
No, absolutely. There are going to be some people that only heard the naked part.
Yeah, but no. When I'm
Yeah.
talking about naked, I'm talking about uncovered,
Absolutely.
transparent.
Yes.
Like we leave nothing off the table in these sessions.
I agree.
And the problem is, you guys didn't talk about that. Y'all didn't talk about how does chastising and correcting look before we enter into this marriage. And so now your marriage is about to end because what you did not talk about.
Right. Let me tell you, it's going to come up.
It's going to come up.
I can assure you, everything that you thought you were keeping from the coach or pastor or whoever led you through counseling or coaching, everything you thought, it will show up.
Absolutely.
Let me say this again. Your marriage, from the day you say I do, it goes under attack. The enemy does not want you married. He does not want your marriage to be a success.
Yeah.
You will face attack.
Yeah.
Right? And so it is vitally important that you discuss all things.
All things. Again, leaving nothing unturned. And
Right.
how we're going to collectively chastise the child is one of the things we got to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, when we get married, you got to give me space to establish my voice
Mm-hmm.
and my authority
Mm-hmm.
in the home
Mm-hmm.
as now parent.
Yeah.
And I can't do that if you're not going to allow me to speak into the child,
Mm-hmm.
correct the child,
Yeah.
or even chastise the child.
Yeah.
You got to allow me to establish my voice in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And so the child needs it.
Yeah.
And as the bonus parent, I need it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already coming in knowing that I'm going to fight an uphill battle.
Yeah. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be, babe.
No, it don't.
It really, we create these hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be as hard as we allow it to be, or we make it even sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we don't dig enough.
You're right.
We don't talk enough. We don't communicate enough. And so there we have challenges. There we have hills.
Absolutely.
So put it all out there.
Yeah.
And that should be one of the things that we put out there. As you were talking, I was reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
I was reflecting on the space that we have obviously grown to.
Yeah.
In chastising, and I'll never forget. I think as a woman, as a wife, bringing a child into a marriage and in a relationship and family, is that you have this a little bit maybe a fear or uncertainty, and so you say, if I introduce this person to my child and we begin a family together, and then not only do I introduce, now I'm allowing them to chastise and have a place and a role, a vital role in their lives. Will they be here? Will they always stay? You get what I'm saying? And so you start to consider things like that. And so as I reflect, I'm thinking, I'm inviting someone else into our daughter's space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowing you a place in her life. I got to know you're going to be here. Because if you're not, then that's a burden that I created for her that she didn't ask for.
Right, right. And that's something that you're
You
going to
know,
have to one day clean up.
absolutely.
Now, granted, we enter all relationships with the hope
Mm-hmm.
that they will
Yep.
last.
Yep.
But, again, you guys that are listening, you're married. And so we hope that your marriage will
Yeah.
last forever. But you're going to have to trust. Here we go. You're going to have to trust God
Yeah.
and relinquish that area of authority over to
Yeah.
that new spouse.
It's definitely a trust thing.
You're going to have to trust
Definitely.
God. You
Yeah.
got you got to trust God that this person is not going to abuse my child.
Mm-hmm.
This person is not going to cause my child any harm.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to chastise or correct out of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to trust God and relinquish.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, any fear that you may have about them mishandling, chastising, or correcting, keep in mind that that person that you are in fear about them mishandling that moment, that person was your wise choice when you married them.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm going to marry you, freely give you my body, marry our income, put our houses together,
Mm-hmm.
become a blended family, but I don't trust you when it comes to chastising my child.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. That's a real space that we have to deal with. Like, it's a very, very real space.
Yeah.
And we gotta talk through it, walk through it. Yeah. We gotta
Yeah.
deal with that.
All right, let's move, baby.
All right.
All right, number 10, have your rules.
Mm-hmm.
True enough, have your rules, but respect that you can't manage or run the other parent's house.
You cannot.
So, in other words, you can have your rules, true enough.
Mm-hmm.
You may establish how you're going to govern your home and how you're going to parent the child when the child is in your care.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand that you can't run your house and their house.
Right.
And that's something that also must be communicated to the child.
Yes, this is true.
Like your daddy or your mama,
Mm-hmm.
they can't run their house and my house.
This is true. Right.
So as the child, don't come here talking about, but at my dad. No.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that at your dad's house.
Right.
Keep it at your mama's house.
Right.
So the child
agree.
must understand that they can't, that their parent, the other parent, can't run both houses. And you got to understand
Mm-hmm.
that you can't run both houses. And I don't understand why we try to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. We try to use, Trump with our whatever our rules are.
Yeah.
And we can't.
No.
We can't.
No.
We can't
It's
play
not
that.
it's not fair. It's not fair. And really what we do, we communicate confusion to the child.
Yep.
Because when you try to run the other person's house, now that the child goes to that house and see, well, wait a minute, it ain't nothing like how mom and
Right.
dad, be trying to make it or make it seem
Mm-hmm.
or try to run it. Now I'm just confused.
Right.
Like, what do I do when I get here?
Right.
Trust that, again, going back to our first episode, have a conversation to establish boundaries and rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you guys are separated
Yeah.
or divorced, establish these new rules on how each house would look.
Right.
Have a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you run your house and let them run their house.
Absolutely.
Get out them folk business.
Because you
Shoot.
can't do both. You really can't.
I'm sick of it now.
Yeah.
Y'all stay out these folk business. Stop trying to run these folk house, man. I see it too many times. When people
Oh,
come to me and want to
man.
talk about, Pastor John, you just don't understand. We a blended family and the other person such. And then as I be listening, I'm like, the problem is you trying to run their house.
You the problem. Yeah.
You can't run their house.
Right. You cannot. Yep. And I think in most cases it comes from a good place, especially when it
Does it?
No, hear me out now. Hear me out.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this: no, you can never run somebody's house or attempt to run their house from a good place. But I think their concern comes from a good place. In most cases that I've heard, well, the child gets to the ex's house and they can do X, Y, Z. They can do
Okay.
a myriad of things that
Okay.
I just don't allow.
Okay.
And then that, you know what I'm saying? And there may be things outside of the boundaries of what we have established at home. And so it creates a concern. Well, they get over there and they just go wild, or they can do this or stay up or go out, all these
Right.
things. So that's the good place that I think it's coming from.
Right,
You
right,
know what I'm saying?
right. But even with that, we shouldn't try to run and dictate
Mm-hmm.
their home. We should be adults and have a conversation. Hey, these are my
Mm-hmm.
concerns
Mm-hmm.
when the child is with you.
Yeah.
And kind of see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Have the conversation with the parent,
Have the conversation with the parent.
the other parent.
Don't have the conversation with the child
Right.
about the parent.
Man, that's a whole other topic.
Don't
right
have the
there.
conversation with the child about the parent. I don't know why your daddy be letting you do such and such and such. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have the conversation with the parent, not with the child.
Right.
All right.
And that's concerning all things. I think that applies to every single, unless you are directly talking to the child about something that you need or
Mhm.
require of them,
Mm.
any discontentment that you have with the other parent, you should never,
Never.
be expressing that to your
Never.
child.
Never.
Ever, never.
And I feel like we could sit here for a minute if we
Man,
want to.
because for all that child knows is that you and their other parent are BFFs.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
You want to
Yes.
sit there. Go ahead.
No. I just remember one time, I think it was the day that Zuri's dad and stepmom came over for
Mhm.
4th of July. Zuri
Her
was kind of
bonus mom.
bonus mom. My apologies.
Yeah.
Zuri's bonus mom. She was kind of weird because she was like, I don't really like. Zuri was like, I don't know what to do right now. Like,
Zuri was.
yeah, she was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is so different.
Yeah, well, that was the first time that they were in our home,
Right.
and we had gone to maybe like hibachi or dinner or something
Yep.
a time before, and she kind of was like,
Right. She was like,
"What are we
"Whoa,
doing?"
What are we doing?" Like, you know what I'm saying? But isn't it
Yeah.
amazing that although we never expose her to anything negatively,
Mm-hmm.
we never showed her anything. We never talked bad about them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe they ever talked bad about us. We didn't do anything toxic around her. But isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It makes me wonder where and why did she believe
Mm-hmm.
that was wrong or weird?
Yeah. Yeah. Exposure, you know.
Or maybe she has a friend
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
cousin
Yeah.
that's blended,
Mm-hmm.
and they always talk about Zuri, my mama and my new dad. They
Yeah.
don't like my
Right.
real dad.
Well, that's so funny. I don't mean to go down a rabbit hole with this, but you say that. Zuri has a little FaceTime group with her friends, and
Mhm.
I actually heard this was probably a couple years ago. What a little girl said, "Yeah, this is my weekend to go be with my dad and my evil stepmother."
Wow.
So
See,
they're like 6 years old. Now they don't. She doesn't know what that means, but she's either heard someone say
right.
that, or maybe that's a bit of her experience. But
Well,
at
yeah.
six,
So
articulating that,
right. So it could be her experience, but it also could be just what the mom is saying
the way
to
she
and
portrays,
around,
yeah,
the way she portrays her.
yeah,
That's why we say, don't bash them.
yep,
Don't bash
yeah,
your ex to your child.
right,
Listen, even if that ex is dead wrong, low down,
mm-hmm.
dirty, no good, whatever you want to call them,
yeah,
let the child find out. Let the child find out
mm-hmm.
that their dad ain't
Mm-hmm.
hitting on nothing.
Yep,
Let the child find out that their mom is not hitting on anything.
mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to bash them to the child.
Right.
We're planting seeds that we will one day harvest.
It's gonna come up.
It's gonna come up.
It's gonna come up. Yep.
And it's gonna come back good measure,
Mm-hmm.
pressed down, shaken together, and run it over.
Right. See, we only want to hear that good measure when it
Oh, man.
pertains
To
right
you-
to you.
To you sowing good seed.
Good seed. Yeah.
But
those
the
bad
principle
seeds
still work
gotta
when you
come up
sow
too.
bad seed.
Yep.
It's the principle of seed sowing,
Absolutely.
good or bad. And
We don't want to hear that part.
And so you're sowing that bad seed into your child's life about their other parent, and you wonder why it's so hectic in your home.
Yep.
You plant that seed.
That's it.
So if you want to become a blended and whole family, shut your mouth when it comes to the other parent
Right. Unless you're opening your mouth to pray.
in prayer.
Yeah, that's it.
Shut your mouth.
I
Be
agree.
quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Be quiet.
I agree with you.
All right,
Yeah.
let's move. Number 11. Never deprive the child of visitation
Yeah.
with the non-custodial parent. Listen, man, I don't care. I don't care what he or she is or is not doing to contribute to the care of the child.
Mm-hmm.
I know in most cases, when it comes to um, a dad not paying child support, most women feel that my way of punishing him
Mm-hmm.
or getting him back or teaching him a lesson is withholding visitation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we got to make sure that we are not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can't do that.
Right. No,
Like,
I agree.
because we really don't understand the damage that we're doing to the child. The child don't really care or know about daddy ain't paying child support. That
Right.
child I just want to see my daddy.
You know, in a way, when people decide to do it, and I was about to say women, but not only women do that, because not only women are custodial parents,
Right.
but man, but you're only contributing in a way, and someone could argue me in the chat, whatever, I don't care. You're only contributing to the damage and the brokenness of that child
Wow. That you are.
when you do that.
That you are.
I think the biggest thing, the biggest way is the way that you said, let them find out.
Let them find out.
But man, like you keeping them away, it only contributes to the brokenness. And in some cases that I've heard of and I've witnessed is that you're ticked off at the dad
Mm-hmm.
for not contributing financially.
Right.
You keep the child away. The child really couldn't care less. They have no clue. They just want to see their father.
Right.
And then eventually, as they become older and they get to a place where they can speak for themselves and they can develop their own relationship if they so choose,
Mm-hmm.
they find out that you were the reason that they weren't spending time together. And then now they're mad at you.
Right.
You don't want that on you.
Again, that's a seed sown. So here it is. You kept me away from my parent
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't doing whatever you want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I get older, I don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So isn't it amazing how
Look at that.
tables have turned?
Yeah.
You're only hurting the child
Yep.
when you keep the child away, when you deprive the child
Mm-hmm.
of visitation of the other parent.
Right.
And you are inviting the harvest of bad seed into
Absolutely.
your home and into your marriage.
Yeah.
If you want to be blended and whole, never deprive. Now, again, I'm not talking about if that person is causing harm
Of course not. I'm
to the
so glad
child.
you went there because
That person is just puts the child in a very poor and an unsafe environment when they're
Absolutely.
in their care.
mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about that. We may have to put some boundaries and some stipulations around visitation.
Yeah.
Hey, you're welcome to come here. I'll meet you at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that is the case.
Of
But
course.
I'm talking to it's a good man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good woman. It's just a matter of they ain't paying child support.
Or
Or
maybe they don't have it.
maybe they
you
don't have
haven't
it.
talked to them to figure out why or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you haven't even loaned yourself to a conversation.
Right.
It's like when I check my account, the money ain't there.
He ain't
Cut
going.
it off.
They ain't going.
They ain't going.
They ain't coming.
Or you get caught up in your feelings, and it has nothing to do with whether or not they're paying child support.
Or not. Ooh.
Okay.
Come here, camera.
Okay.
You married.
mm-hmm.
You now blended. And
Yeah.
you watch this episode trying to be blended and whole. But the reason that you may not be allowing him or her to see the child is because him or her got a new boo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you married. Make it make sense
It won't.
with your married self.
Yeah. With your happily married self at that, they say.
Because now, again, I'm not talking about nothing that I don't know. I'm not talking about what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen people be married.
Yep.
They're blended. They're married now.
Mm-hmm.
And when the when the other or the
The
ex
ex, yeah.
gets somebody else, they get mad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you think and what do you think that is communicating to your spouse
Yeah.
because you upset because him or her has finally moved on?
Yeah.
See, it was all cool when you moved on first.
It was
Yeah,
all good just a week
it was
ago.
all good when you moved on first, but now
Yeah.
that he or she has moved on, you're salty,
Mm-hmm.
and your response is depriving them of visitation with the child. That's not right.
No,
You're planting a seed, man, that you will have to reap a harvest from.
not even in the least way. You're
The
right.
Bible says, as long as the earth remains, there will be seed, time, and harvest.
That's it.
So you will reap on every seed sown,
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's move. All right, baby, let's look at number 12. Number 12, seek family counseling to support you and your child's emotional health before and during the new marriage.
Yeah. I think that's one that we often forfeit,
Absolutely.
unfortunately. I can throw us under the bus. Here, hold my hand so I'll make sure I leave you behind when I go under the bus.
I mean,
No, but I don't know that that's one that we approached, and I
we
believe
didn't.
that we did. And
We
there
didn't.
was a season to where we needed that
Yeah, yeah,
badly.
we
We
did.
needed that badly. We ended up receiving some counsel from our pastors,
Hmm.
um but we didn't take our children through
Right.
that same counsel. And I would highly encourage that you do that and you take it seriously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of the scars that we have now as a blended family,
Mm-hmm.
some of the testimonies that we have now as a blended family, we could have avoided
Absolutely.
had we gotten family counseling
Mm-hmm.
prior to us merging our
Yeah.
families. And this is the thing, man. You're talking about some two people that are in church,
Yeah.
two people that know the word. Do we, we didn't always do the word, but we
Right.
know the word.
Yeah.
And so, you may be listening and you may not be someone that's really in church, or,
Mm-hmm.
you may be someone that don't really know a lot about the word. So just imagine how much harder it's going to be for you over time. Because again, we knew the word
Right.
and we still
Didn't
came up
always do the
against
word. Yeah.
some
Yeah.
difficult times
Absolutely.
trying to merge our families, hoping to be whole. But man, we had some scars,
Yeah, we did.
and we could have avoided some things had we sought counsel. And so I encourage you guys, if you are a blended family, listen, it's not too late. You may say, well, no, we didn't do it. We didn't do family counsel
Mm-hmm.
prior to, but you can do it now.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
You can find somebody now.
It isn't too late, especially if your family isn't meshing or gelling the way that you pray for or that you had hoped or anticipated. This is
Absolutely.
the time. Like I said, it's never too late.
Absolutely.
You know,
It's never too late. You
yeah,
guys, I mean, you can hit us up. I mean, we of course we're certified coaches, so hit
yeah,
us up. We can walk you guys through this. We can offer
absolutely,
some coaching. Go to the
yes.
website, get that information that's needed for you guys. But it's not too late.
No, never too
It's
late.
not too late.
Right.
It will change your life.
Yes, and too, as you're navigating through different seasons. So maybe you didn't get it initially. Maybe your family is gelling perfectly.
Right.
They're meshing well. But maybe you're in a season
Hmm.
to where, hey, this is needed or this is necessary. So it's always good to either have it for maintenance or at any point throughout.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. All right. All right. Number 13, hold regular family meetings to assess or adjust the new dynamics.
yeah.
Like, man, family meetings are so vitally important.
Yeah.
But man, we got to have these family meetings because we need to be talking to the kids to find out, hey, how are you dealing with this new dynamic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How are you dealing with the fact that there's another man or another woman in your life?
Mm-hmm.
How are you adjusting to now being between two houses?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got to have conversation.
Right. Right. And we that's one thing that we did do and
Hmm.
we do frequently,
Yep.
especially in those early years, excuse me. just bringing the kids around and giving them space to
Yes,
express themselves
that's the key. Give them space.
freely. You know, how like you said, how do you feel about this?
Yeah,
What are you experiencing?
yeah,
You know, what's going on in your mind? Like, talk to us openly.
right.
And I think we made some tremendous headway because we approached it
Yeah.
that way.
I feel led to hit this, babe. Like,
Yeah.
so although I am a firm believer that our spouses come first,
Mhm.
like in all things, above all things, your spouse is number one,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
After your relationship with God. But when you are a blended family or a newly blended family,
Mhm.
I do think that it is important to make sure that you are giving and spending adequate attention and time to that child to make sure that he or she is meshing well and
Mhm.
adapting well with this
Mhm.
new family dynamic.
Agreed.
Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that you rob time from your new spouse.
Mhm.
What I am saying is that you have got to find a balance
Yep.
to make sure that you're taking care of both. And
Mhm.
there may need to be a conversation with the spouse so that they understand, hey, listen, I'm not putting my child before you. You are number one,
Mhm.
but I need you to understand that this is new.
Mhm.
This is a sensitive time.
Mhm.
And I got to make sure that their mental is
Yeah.
keeping up with the level and the rate that we're moving.
Right.
Now, physically, we've already got married, we're blended, we're in
Yeah.
the house, but I got to make sure that mentally and emotionally that
Mhm.
is coming along with
Yeah.
the physical change and move,
Right. I agree with that. I
right?
agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
I think that's especially important. It's important in all stages of it, in all facets rather, but it's especially important if you're part of a blended family and one of the spouses has no children,
oh, yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
they bring no children into this situation. I think that needs to be heavily communicated.
Because
You
it's
know.
going to be a lot of times, if that is the case, baby,
Hmm.
he or she may not understand.
Yep. Yep. I would even venture to say, just with us, our relationship with Zuri's father
Hmm.
and Bonus mom became so much better once they had children because there was an aspect of her
That's good.
as a mother that came alive, that no
Right.
matter how well she treated Zuri and no matter how good I mean, and she really is very good to her, um that came alive, and so there became an understanding that just could not be there
Right.
prior to having children of her own.
Yeah.
And then that made the relationship better for us, for all of us, because it's like, okay, now I get it. I'm a
Wow.
mother. I know how essential these things are. I know how important communication
Yeah.
is. And then it's like, not only did she just have a child, well, now my baby has a sister.
Right.
And so that bond needs to be nourished
Hmm.
and supported. And so we need to be in communication about how we're going to make sure that they're developing in their relationship as well.
Definitely, definitely. More is caught than taught. And
Yeah.
so to that parent that may not have any kids and now you guys are blended,
Mm-hmm.
in order for you to have a clear understanding, you may need to seek some counsel for yourself
Yeah. Yep. That's good.
because
That's real
you
good.
don't I don't have any kids, and so I'm trying to understand why
Mm-hmm.
my wife or husband needs to give so much attention
Mm-hmm.
to their children, but like I feel like she should be spending more time with me. Yes and no,
Yeah.
because again, you should want him or her to make sure that things are going well with the child because when things go well with the child, my
Yeah.
brother and my dear sister, things go
Go well.
well in
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good.
So you may need to seek counsel as
Mm-hmm.
to how to understand and properly support
Mm-hmm.
him or her in this season where they're having to now divide time and find balance.
Yeah.
And you may need to be a little more patient and understanding with some of your requests and your needs and understand that this may just be a season.
Yeah.
And seasons aren't forever.
No. No.
And sometimes some seasons are sacrificial.
Mm-hmm.
but they're
Mm-hmm.
not forever. And so don't feel like you're losing because you're sacrificing your needs sometime so that he or she can give more attention and time to the child. Sometimes it just may be needed in the season, but just understand
Right.
seasons aren't forever.
Right. No, that's very good. And seasons like this, in order for them to be successful, and victorious when you come out on
Hmm.
the other side, understand that they're not for selfish people. You
Yep.
need to be mature when
Hmm.
you approach this, and no one needs to take advantage of the moment or of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. All right, baby. Number 14. When blending children, be intentional about treating all the kids the same.
yeah.
Um, that's listen, man. That's just a big fact.
Mm-hmm.
Don't treat these kids any different.
Yeah.
Don't The other children should not be able to look to you and see that you treat your children any different than what you're treating them,
Yeah.
right? Um, that can never be the case. It's dangerous.
Yep.
It's causing division and discord in the family. You say you want to be whole.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there needs to be unity. The Bible
Mm-hmm.
says where there is unity, God commands the blessing.
Yep.
And so it's important for you to make sure that all kids feel the same attention, the
Absolutely.
same love, the
Mm-hmm.
same respect, right? They receive the same when it comes to gifts,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't turn up for one on Christmas because they're yours
Yeah.
and turn down for what on the other one. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Don't No, man, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Because now you cause that child to grow up with now insecurities.
Yeah.
Um,
It creates
it
division,
creates
really,
division, and
amongst
then
siblings.
it
You
does. Oh,
know?
that's so good. That's so good. Creates
Yeah.
division amongst siblings, and then it also could communicate. Let's just say that child makes you, if you are the man that's doing it, that child makes you all men.
Man, that's big.
And
That's big.
so let's just say if it's a little girl
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and she feels like you do to your children better than what you do to her,
Yeah.
and what if she makes you all men?
Wow.
And now she grows up with a hatred or a disdain for men because of, simply put, you just didn't do your part. You
Wow.
didn't spread your love equally in the home.
Wow, that's big, babe. Especially in cases where the other biological parent is not present.
Right.
Yeah, we do not want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
The the other side to that too is if you're not spreading yourself equally financially,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, you're not doing it emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not spreading yourself equally emotionally, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have one sided correction and chastising
Yeah.
because you're not spread it equally financially.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not spread it equally financially, emotionally. And 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the chastising,
Yeah.
it too is going to be one sided.
Right.
And that's the last thing that you want to happen in the house. You never want to break the child
Mm-hmm.
because you cannot master being equal to all in the home.
Wow. Wow. To me, for that person, that's an emotional disconnect that they have that
Yeah,
they need to sort out.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, manage yourself first
absolutely.
before you try to go discipline or chastise,
Yeah,
you know, the children. Learn how
yeah,
to manage yourself, develop some self-control, because even for you to take that route and determine and decide that that's how you're going to treat a child
hmm,
differently, you got something going on that you need to take care of within yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 17. Don't let the frustrations of an ex absence or lack of financial support spill into your interactions with your spouse.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of dug into that a little bit as we talked about, the visitation or the withhold visitation because,
Hmm.
I'm not getting any child support, so I'm not going to send him or her this weekend and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah. But that's more so dealing with the child.
Mm-hmm.
I think here we're more so talking about like as far as the interactions with your spouse.
letting it bleed over.
letting
Okay.
build. So
Okay,
so
I got
so
you.
I'm mad at my ex because he ain't getting the child. You know, the
Mhm.
kids, or she is not getting the children.
Mhm.
I'm mad at my spouse because they're not paying support.
Okay.
And now my frustration and my anger with them is bleeding over into my marriage. And
Got it.
now I'm disconnecting from my present spouse because of what
Mhm.
my ex is or is not doing.
Yeah.
We can't do that. Listen, it's okay. Be a little frustrated.
Yeah.
Have the conversation. Vent to your spouse. Let them know. You know what? I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm a little heated, but we still going on our date tonight, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, y'all just had an argument about
Mhm.
something about the kids.
Yeah.
Don't bring that into our bedroom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can talk about it. I'll do my best to comfort you and support you in that, but I'm not going to allow, we should never allow
Yeah.
the disconnect from our ex to bleed over into our marriage. And now that's disconnecting our marriage.
No, I agree with that.
Because again, you're gonna be blended again. You're gonna be doing this all over again.
Reblend it.
Right. So let's just make sure that we're not doing that, y'all.
Right.
Like, come on, man. And I know some of the things that we're talking about, it may sound elementary. It may sound like, no, it's obvious, but it's not.
Yeah.
If it was the case, we wouldn't have 1,300 blended families being formatted and developed daily.
Yep.
So we know it's not elementary. We know it's not being talked about.
No, no, that's true. I mean, in this one, man, I mean, you could so easily get caught up in your emotions.
Yeah.
And so you don't say, so here's the way that this looks. You have an argument with the ex,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps concerning the kids, something they did or didn't do. You don't say what you really want to say to
Mm-hmm.
the ex out of fear that it will impact either you visiting your child or seeing your child or what they'll end up saying to your child. So you hold back and then you come and then you take out those frustrations on your spouse.
Right.
Right. And that's what happens all the time.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, babe. Let's hit these last two. Um, Consider the kids' heart
mhm.
during this transition.
Okay.
You must be patient with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are bringing and merging two families together. You're
Mhm.
becoming a blended family.
Yeah.
You may be blended for a while now. You got to consider the heart of the child
Yeah.
and be patient.
Mhm.
Just because you got a new boo and you all in love and you happy, you excited, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Consider the healing that the child may need. Consider the patience the child may need.
Yeah.
I just don't think as parents, if I can be transparent, after my first divorce, I didn't fully consider my kids.
Mhm.
I didn't fully consider what they needed in that transition.
Mhm.
I thought that just working on myself would be good enough.
Mhm.
And because I was so present in their lives, and for me, what I tried to make sure that they didn't miss anything.
Mhm.
And so I spent all my time with them and trips and gifts and showered them, but I was not considering their heart.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
did not consider what the divorce and what the transition was doing to them
Yeah.
inside, emotionally and mentally,
Yeah.
and what spiritual bearings it had on them.
Yeah.
And so I just encourage you parents, man, have conversations,
Yeah.
man. Get
For
those
sure.
get those babies some coaching and some counseling,
Mhm.
whatever is needed. Consider them in the transition.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
get it. You're in
Yeah.
love and you're moving on.
Yeah.
You got a new boo. There's a new fire.
Fire and desire.
And I understand that. And I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But what good is it for you to have a new relationship
Mhm.
and lose your child on the way? So let's
Yeah.
just make sure we're doing better with that.
Yeah.
And lastly,
You said your first divorce, you had more than one.
no, I did not have more than one divorce.
Oh, okay.
I guess my first marriage.
Okay.
Goodbye.
I was checking. I had to check. I was
Okay.
checking.
All right.
All right.
And our
We can
last
move
our
now.
last key point to blended families, if you're trying to be blended and whole,
Okay.
regularly disconnecting
Mm-hmm.
and dating is essential
Yes, it is.
to the longevity of a blended marriage.
Absolutely. Um, you have to develop an FTK down in your spirit.
Forget them
Forget
kids.
them kids.
Forget them
They gonna
kids.
be all right,
Right?
right?
We're not saying forget them as in don't
Right.
get them
No.
their help that they
No.
need.
No.
We're just saying make sure that you keep the main thing the main thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that you guys, if because this is the thing, you are the core of this blended family.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not whole,
Mm-hmm.
the kids won't be whole.
Right.
So their wholeness has to ride the shoulders
Yeah.
of yours.
Right.
So you do that by making sure that you guys are having conversations, you're having date nights, you're taking vacations, that you are actually working on the marriage
Mm-hmm.
while working on them,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And
So
so,
yeah, and like you just said, the kids are gonna benefit all the more.
absolutely.
The stronger you guys are, the more you're communicating, you're spending uninterrupted
Yeah.
quality time away from them
Mhm.
with each other. They'll see the benefit. They'll reap.
Yeah.
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 So
So listen, man, this is all we have for you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed part one and part two of Blended and Whole. We did our best to try to hit every angle that we could concerning blended families. I just encourage you guys to listen to it over and over and over again. Share this with someone that may be a blended family. Sharing is caring. And listen, man, we love you guys. We're doing our best to provide you guys with the best and strongest and relevant content that we most possibly can. So connect with us. Baby, you want to talk to the people about connecting with us? Well, no, I'll
you know,
take it.
so
I'll take it.
no,
I'll
I was tuned up. You
Well,
have
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Talk,
you
talk.
got
No,
it.
no, no, go ahead.
Again, connect with us. You can start off
Got that
here.
takeover
At,
spirit. But go
cut
ahead.
that out
Go ahead. Go ahead.
before I put you out.
Talk to the people.
All right, so connect with us here via YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you
Mhm.
haven't already. You can also see us in our emails, info@themarriagemattersbrand.com. We would love
Yes.
to hear from you that way. Make sure that you're also visiting the marriagemattersbrand.com. We have merchandise there that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect with us that way as well,
Yep.
and represent the Marriage Matters brand, especially if we've been a blessing to you. Please help us in that way. And then you have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all the ways in which you can connect. And then if you want to connect financially, we would greatly appreciate that.
Yes.
We're at the Marriage Matters brand on Cash App, and then we're the Marriage Matters brand on Venmo.
Absolutely. So listen, guys, we love you. We have enjoyed kicking it with y'all. Part one, part two, blended. So we finna get up out of here, y'all.
Yeah,
We finna go work on our blended family.
that's it.
So we love you guys. Until next time, remember, marriage matters. Peace.